Nation justified your gravity. Sacrifice your own boys for a lie. Listen. Yeah. Yeah. Make America great again. Yo, Tails, this shit crazy. Yeah. Make America great again now. We will see what happens, yeah. Watch this. Sacred defense, we protecting the soil. Why you sacrifice soldiers to pay for your spoil? You first who ran the blow, sitting on your throne. Now we turning every base into a bed of stone. It's a slaughterhouse, a trap you couldn't see. Welcome to the graveyard of your vanity. The secrets are leaking. The pressure is rising. We locked on the target. And now you are hiding. LOSCR. Yeah, we spelling at your name. Send them to the slaughter, you the only one to blame. Bleeding for a puppet while you shaking in your sweet. LOSCR. Taste the ash of defeat. LOSCR. Yeah, we spelling at your name. Send them to the slaughter, you the only one to blame. Bleeding for a puppet while you shaking in your sweet. LOSCR. Take the ash of defeat. Swipes fighting in your suit, hiding Epstein's ghost. You sent your boys to die on the bloody coast. Not a revenge for the leader's blood is purely mine. Every drop of his blood is a missile on the line. You thought you took him out, thought the fire was dead, but another common day is standing ahead. Yeah, you strike one down, we just shatter your brain. We put another in the leg, common day again. The secrets are leaking, the pressure is rising. We locked on the target, and now you are hiding. LOSCR. Yeah, we spelling out your name. Send them to the slaughter, you the only one to blame. Bleeding for a puppet while you shaking in your sweet. LOSCR. Taste the ash. LOSCR. Yeah, we spelling out your name. Send them to the slaughter, you the only one to blame. Bleeding for a puppet while you shaking in your sweet. LOSCR. Taste the ash of defeat. Sacred defense of the homeland. Sacred defense of the homeland. Sacred defense of the homeland. The slaughterhouse is open. Common leg cat. LOSCR.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your daily vitamin. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time Queen Goddess goes live. All right. Hold on, honey. All right. I'm sending something to my email. All right. So here we are again. Now, I was going to talk about something some crazy stuff tonight, like some mysterious things or paranormal or whatever, but alas, it is too much going on, so we got to go in on Trump. Okay, so we got to talk about Trump. Hey, Christy Love, Claudette, Reggie is here. Black women stand up. Hey, beloved, Mr. Elevation, Sheila. All right, Hadassah Israel is here. Nessa G, Leon is in the virtual building. Bronze Flat Power God, Cherokee Descendant Dale, Starseed Oracle, Emperor Rex. All right, let's get into it. Shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen, and a big shout out to my moderators because y'all know they be putting in work. I see you, Claudette. Hey, Desmond. We the people is here. Okay, so let's get into it. Before we do, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. Don't forget to like and share. Also, double check to make sure you're still subscribed, especially if you have not been receiving the notifications. Y'all know how to be hating on the poor little old queen, okay? That just do me so bad.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
right, so that all being said, don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she sells beard oil and she has sales, okay? She has sales often, so make sure you get your 12 Tribes hair oil today. All right, so let's get into it. What is y'all's president doing? Okay, remember this morning I reported to you that there was rumors that Pam Bondi might be getting fired. Yikes. Ah, well, now she's fired. But let me tell y'all something. Trump thinks he is slick. Okay, Trump thinks he's slick, but we're on to him. Because the reason he has fired Pam Bondi is because he knows that she was supposed to be deposed for the Epstein file debacle in 12 days. Okay, less than 2 weeks. So I find this all just a little bit too convenient, and not to mention, that's also what MS Now seems to think. Okay, so let's get into it. Trump got rid of Bondi because she was about to be deposed in the Epstein case. That's right. It's not going to change anything, Trump. Okay, you're still going to get exposed. Now, I'm going to share my screen. Leon said, our president. That's right, Reggie. Reggie said, shout out to the replay gang. That's right. Shout out to my replay gang. You know who'll watch this later. I love y'all. Sorry you missed it live. Okay, so that all being said, let's go to the footage. Like, sub, everyone, please like and share. It doesn't cost you a single thing, and that's the way you can support the channel absolutely for free. Okay, let's get into it.
Democratic Congressman Seth Moulton of Massachusetts. Congressman, good to see you. What's your reaction to Pam Bondi being fired?
I mean, look, I agree with what Hakeem Jeffries just said. As she is an extremist, she's petulant. I mean, she comes to Congress like a child, and it's embarrassing for the whole institution. But let's be more specific about what's going on here. She was about to be deposed in the Epstein case. That's why Trump got rid of her 12 days before that was supposed to happen. And he's put in place someone who did a sweetheart deal for him with regards to Epstein, the guy who went down and interviewed Ghislaine Maxwell and got her out of a maximum security prison, got her all sorts of favors that criminals like her are not afforded, all because she's willing to do favors for the president of the United States and help cover up his biggest political liability.
Robert Garcia, who you know is the ranking member on that committee, is intending to try to still get her to testify. Do you see a possibility of that happening?
I mean, I don't know, because he can probably try to hold her accountable to the law, but we all know that this administration is not accountable to the law. And so I expect Trump to do everything that he can come up with to try to get her out of testifying, because it could be embarrassing to her. I mean, remember, she's the one who said she had the Epstein files on her desk. I have the client list in front of me, she said, and then all of a sudden she changed her story and that went away. We now know, of course, that's because Donald Trump's name occurs more than just about any other name other than Jeffrey Epstein in the Epstein files. And it's the single thing that's actually hurting his base. So basically what's happening is he's replacing one child pedophile protector with another. That's what's going on. And that's just an embarrassment that that's the top justice official in the United States of America.
Is that how you view Todd Blanche? I mean, we were just discussing the fact that just a couple of months ago, he went inside the prison where Ghislaine Maxwell was serving time and asked her a series of pretty soft questions. And then she got, and we've never gotten a real explanation for this, she got transferred to a prison camp. Does anything change, do you think, if it's Todd Blanche, or is there someone, for example, Lee Zeldin's name has been put out there, who you think could be any different or do anything differently at DOJ?
Well, I'd like to think that Lee Zeldin could help, because to my knowledge, he's not been part of the Epstein cover-up. But that's clearly a role that Todd Blanche has. He's been a part of the cover-up. I mean, sometimes the truth is staring you in the face. Donald Trump sent Todd Blanche to interview Ghislaine Maxwell to try to get her to exonerate Donald Trump. It's so obvious. And yet that person is now expected to be the top justice official in the United States, the person that everybody in America is supposed to respect, to uphold the law. The truth of the matter is, we know that the law doesn't matter to Donald Trump. It doesn't matter to his administration. It didn't matter to Pam Bondi, And frankly, from everything we know, it doesn't seem to matter to Todd Blanche either.
So before this news broke, the big story today, obviously, was the latest on the war in Iran. And in just the last hour, President Trump posted a video, and we're going to show it here, that he says is a bridge in Iran tumbling down. And then he said much more to follow. And it's time for Iran to make a deal before it's too late. And there is nothing left of what could still become a great country. That message comes after Trump gave that address last night, of course, saying Iran is going to be hit extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks.
I'm going to read you all what he said about Pam Bondi being fired. But here's the thing. Trump is such an idiot. All of these things that he's posting to his Truth Social, he's admitting to war crimes. That's what he's admitting to. You're not supposed to be destroying civilian infrastructure, okay? You're having them strike down a bridge, you idiots. Not to mention all the other war crimes that he and Keg's breath, okay, have committed. All right? I can't wait for them to go to prison. And please, dear Lord, let them go. Okay, so here's what he posted. He said, Pam Bondi is a great American patriot and a loyal friend who faithfully served as my attorney general over the past year. Pam did a tremendous job overseeing a massive crackdown in crime across our country, with murders plummeting to their lowest level since 1900. Ha! Do you all hear this? Murders plummeting to the lowest level since 1900. Y'all know I'm a fact checking. We love Pam, and she will be transitioning to a much needed and important new job in the private sector, to be announced at a date in the near future. I hope she loses her license to practice law after this is all said and done. Anyway, and our deputy attorney general and a very talented and respected legal mind, Todd Blanche, will step in to serve as acting attorney general. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Okay, please, Mr. Smith.
Saying Iran is going to be hit extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. You're a Marine Corps veteran. What do these messages and conflicting messages from the president signal to U.S. troops?
Well, first of all, I know active duty Marines who now refer to Pete Hegseth's department as the Department of War Crimes. That's because under Pete Hegseth's leadership, they do things like this: destroy civilian infrastructure, which, just to be clear, is a war crime. It's meant to hurt civilians. This is the same stuff that we criticize Vladimir Putin for doing in Ukraine. For years, we've attacked Putin because he's the one who's taking out civilian infrastructure in Ukraine.
Let me just interject and say, not only have they said that about Putin, but and Trump hasn't said that about Putin, because Trump knows not to say anything about Putin, okay? Because Putin has the scoop on him, okay? Putin knows what's in those Epstein files that they haven't bothered to put out, I'm pretty sure. But with that all being said, here's the thing. The Trump administration has been lying and saying the same thing about Iran, saying that Iran purposely targets citizens. At least that's what Satan Yahoo has been saying, if you all remember. And I said, how is he going to talk about anyone after what happened over there in Gaza? This is just all so annoying, but let's continue. These people just lie to be lying.
Targeting civilian areas, targeting cities, targeting electrical generating plants, exactly something that the president of the United States called for last night in his address. And this is all because Donald Trump has no plan to end this war that he started and is now losing. He is losing this war of choice that he began in Iran. I mean, remember, just a few months ago, the Strait of Hormuz was open. Oil was about half the cost it is today. And he now is beholden to Iran. He's even pleading with China to try to open the Strait of Hormuz. So he's kicked the hornet's nest. He's got his foot stuck in it, and he doesn't know how to get out. So what is he doing? He's resorting to war crimes. It's an embarrassment.
Well, American people looking for answers last night, or specificity, did not get that. But a source tells MS Now Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth is scheduled to testify publicly before your committee, Armed Services, at the end of the month. Last week, we heard Republican Chair Mike Rogers express frustration about the lack of transparency on Iran. So a two-part question. Can you confirm that that testimony is happening? And do you think that you can work together with Republicans to actually get some answers?
Well, number one, you can never confirm any promise from this administration because they lie all the time. Remember, this is the same administration, the same secretary who told us and promised us that Iran's nuclear program was obliterated just months ago. And we heard last night all about this, all about how the president had to do all these other things to stop their nuclear weapons program. So you cannot trust these guys as far as you can throw them. And it's great that he said he will testify before the committee. I know he's afraid to do so. I know he's afraid of speaking the truth. I know he's afraid of coming to Capitol Hill to just answer questions, not only from Democrats like myself, and I had a lot of fun with Pete Hegseth the last time he came to Capitol Hill, but from Republicans as well, because Republicans also are frustrated. But the question about whether they will work with us to hold him accountable is up in the air, because they absolutely do that behind the scenes. When we have classified briefings with administration officials, Republicans ask really tough questions. In fact, after the last classified briefing we had to the Armed Services Committee, I got a handwritten note from a Republican, a pretty conservative Republican, who said, "Thank you very much for asking those questions, Seth." So they do that behind scenes, but they're scared to do it in public. And so if this is a public hearing, we'll have to see whether they find the courage to ask the questions that right now the American people are demanding, Democrats and Republicans, about this stupid war.
Yeah, it is a stupid war and it's also illegal. Okay, so listen, I just fact checked Trump, and according to Chat GPT, it says basically the FBI. Now you see, here's the problem. I don't trust the FBI. Okay, at least not the FBI that's working while Trump's in office. Okay, but it says, hold on. It basically says experts caution that saying it is definitively the lowest since 1900 is not universally accepted, because the way crime, especially murder, was recorded in the early 20th century isn't fully comparable to modern FBI data. That's what I was thinking. But see, you have to go to ChatGPT, because when I went to just Google, it said yes. Google said yes, as if Trump was telling the truth. Yes, crime is, or murder rates are at the lowest that they've ever been since 1900. What? Yeah, definitely didn't believe that. But according to ChatGPT, the experts are saying, like they're really, because who was keeping track in the 1900s? Who was keeping track of the murder rates? Okay, probably no one. All right, so anyway, that all being said, it is, however, they do say that it's lower than when Biden was in office, his last year or so. Okay, so anyway, yeah, they're just liars who lie. Okay, Trump needs to sit down somewhere. Okay, but now let's talk about Keg's breath, because y'all, Keg's breath is under investigation for insider trading. Did y'all know that? Okay, did y'all know that? Pensy Lola says Netanyahu owns Google in the shadows. Well, if he doesn't, some of his people do. I'll guarantee you that much, beloved. Okay, and so I do believe that narratives are very often painted and pushed. So let's talk about Keg's breath, because honey, they say that he was out here trying to do some insider trading, but unfortunately for him, he got flagged. Okay, let me pull up my notes. Hold on just a second. Here it is. I find it also interesting. So Cat's breath. Now his broker is Morgan Stanley. So supposedly, allegedly, they reached out to BlackRock in February, right before the war. Okay. Now, with that all being said, for those of you who don't know exactly what insider trading is, that's basically when somebody has information on the stock market or whatever, and before information that the public, that the rest of us is not privy to. They have this inside information and they use that for their personal financial gain. That's what they're saying Keg's breath tried to do. And I believe he absolutely did do it. Now, here's the thing. They say he wanted, when he reached out to them before the war, he wanted to make a multi-million-dollar investment in the firm's ETF for defensive stock, according to the Financial Times. Now, they said they got the information, the Financial Times, that is, said they got the information from multiple sources, and the inquiry was flagged internally at BlackRock. So the Pentagon strongly denied the report and demanded a retraction. But of course, the Financial Times is going to retract it more likely than not because they're very good at having their receipts. Okay. And so with that all being said, the spokesperson, Sean Parnell, calling the story entirely false and fabricated. Okay, while Morgan Stanley and BlackRock both decided not to comment. Now, a coalition of Senate Democrats launched an investigation into the report. ABC first reported this Thursday, sending a letter to Hegseth demanding answers about his finances after Democrats on the House Oversight Committee launched a separate probe earlier in the week. Now, Hegseth couldn't invest in the fund. And see, he wanted to so desperately, I'm sure, but he couldn't invest in the fund because it wasn't available for Morgan Stanley clients. Little did he know. So according to the Financial Times, and they say it's unclear if the defense secretary went on to invest in any other defense stocks or ETFs. Now, executive branch employees have to report any trades of stocks and other securities within 45 days of the transaction taking place. Now, it's unclear if Hegseth could afford such an investment since he reported his liquid assets. Now, listen to this. Since he reported his liquid assets ranged from $460,000 to $1 million. Okay. And this was last year. And then Forbes estimated his total net worth at $3 million. Now, mind you, the report happened amid suspicious and very lucrative betting on prediction markets with major announcements from Trump. So remember how I told you all Trump was manipulating the market when he was lying, saying that they're having negotiations and the war is about to be over and all that? That's him manipulating the market, which is also illegal, mind you. But nonetheless, so much of the fortune belongs to his wife. This is Hegseth's wife. Okay, much of the fortune belongs to his wife, with his wealth being closer to about $1 million or less. They spend roughly $19,000 per month on their mortgage and other bills. Now, Hegseth has gone through multiple divorces, and documents from the second one suggest that he might have spent at least, or that he likely spends as much as, or spent at least $1.3 million on spousal maintenance and child support. His salary now is $235,000, which is far less than the $2 million that he was raking in from Fox News. I can't believe Fox News was paying that clown that much money. Okay, I can't believe that. But you know, he also had some other controversies. Hold on, beloveds. So hold on. Because not only has there been questions about the insider trading allegations that just came out as of today, but the war crimes allegations. Hegseth is under investigation by Senate Armed Forces Committee for ordering military strikes that resulted in the deaths of occupants on a Venezuelan rugboat, which some have characterized as execution-style killings. Absolutely. Okay. Now, security violations. The Department of Defense Office of Inspector General investigated Hegseth for sharing classified information regarding military operations on secured systems. Also, let me just say this. You see, when someone is committing insider trading, it is so much more criminal and so much more bad when the person is a whole government official. And the reason being is because government officials, specifically someone in Hegseth's position, they are privy to classified information. Okay, so if you're taking classified information that you have and trying to use that for financial gain, how low down and nefarious are you? Okay, he needs to be going to prison after this is all over. He should be going right now. He should be impeached and going straight to prison, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, that's right. Queen Amoni Hewitt said the math ain't mathing. Okay, Trisha said 19,000 for bills. Yes, they have a huge mortgage, I'm sure, but that's along with other bills, beloveds. You know, they're probably living footloose and fancy free and high off the hog. Not to mention all of the shady backdoor deals that we know that some of Trump's administration is making. Okay, not to mention Trump himself, along with his brother or his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who's also his handler, according to Kanye West. Now, with that all being said, Also, there's allegations of abuse of power. Okay, reports suggest that Hegseth blocked an investigation into his own security lapses and then threatened to use polygraphs on staffers who leaked information about him. Clearly desperate. Okay, also, then there's the military disciplinary interference. Hegseth intervened in a military disciplinary matter by lifting suspensions of pilots involved in a private helicopter flyby of Kid Rock's home. You know, I have to say, beloveds, this is the most ghetto-fied administration that the world of the, well, not the world, the world, not just us, but that the world has ever had to deal with. Because Trump is causing a global energy crisis. This isn't just us. Everybody is suffering, okay? Everybody is suffering because of this idiot, but he just continues to go on and on with what he's doing, all right? And then, you know, before he was confirmed, hold on. I think he had issues before he was confirmed also. Let me see here. Yes, he absolutely did. Okay. That's because he's a low down, dirty devil. Listen, they say yes, Hegseth's path to confirmation in January of 2025 was marked by significant controversies and allegations involving his personal and professional conduct. Now, he was ultimately confirmed in a narrow 51 to 50 vote. Now, I didn't know that. So he literally almost didn't make it in. Okay, with Vice President J.D. Vance casting the tie-breaking vote. And you know why that was? Because remember, I told you all that in 2017, he was accused, and I believe he absolutely did it. He was accused of R-wording this woman, of raping this woman. Okay, a woman accused Hegseth of sexual assault following a 2017 Republican Women's Conference in California. Okay, mind you, he had a whole wife, I do believe, at the time. Now, a 22-page police report detailed her account of him blocking a hotel door and taking her phone. And then the financial settlement, because remember, he paid her a settlement. While no criminal charges were filed, Hegseth later paid the woman an undisclosed settlement, reportedly $50,000, and signed a non-disclosure agreement to protect her career at Fox News. Honey, he'd have to give me more than that. He would have had to give me a whole lot more than $50,000, honey, if you don't want to go to jail. Okay, please pay up. Now, with that all being said, now see, this is the part right here is why I call him Hegseth instead of Hegseth, because it says public drunkenness. Multiple reports, including a whistleblower document from his time at Concerned Veterans for America, also known as CVA, they allege that Hegseth was frequently intoxicated in professional settings. Okay, former colleagues at Fox News expressed similar concerns about his drinking habits. To secure confirmation, Hegseth reportedly pledged to senators that he would not touch alcohol while serving as Secretary of Defense. So I got to want you all to just marinate on that for a second. This is a white man, a Caucasian male, who has been handpicked by the president and given this very high-ranking official position that he's not qualified for, mind you, because he was kicked out of the DC National Guard, okay, for nefarious behavior, and not to mention he's disgraced, according to a General Major. What was that guy's name? I forget. But nonetheless, okay, he said that Hegseth is absolutely not capable of doing this job. He's not qualified, but we already could see that. But so anyway, I just want you all to pay attention to the white privilege of it all. Okay? Can you imagine if a Black person was up for that position and they dared to find out such things, such as sexual allegations, someone being a drunkard? And mind you, he has been drunk enough that they have had to carry him, okay, from one place to another on several occasions. So that means he's an alcoholic. Okay, I'm sorry. That's what that is. He's a whole alcoholic. Anytime that you are drunk publicly multiple times, even in your professional capacity, and then one has to carry you from one place to another on more than one occasion, I'm sorry, how is that not been a whole alcoholic? I believe that's exactly what he is. That's my opinion. Okay, Love Christie said a drunkard queen. Yes, that's what he is. That's exactly what he is, in my opinion. Now, with that all being said, he should never have been in the position, to say the least. But with that all being said, let's continue. It's all crazy. Okay, so Now, alongside all of this BS that Trump has going on, he said he's not going to be wanting to pay for daycare and Medicare and Medicaid. Yeah, they don't have time for that. This is the man who said that he wasn't going to touch Medicaid. Didn't he say that? Or Medicare? I could have sworn he said that when he was running. And then he said that he was not going to be a warmonger. Basically, he was not going to be starting wars. That's what Kamala was going to do if we voted her in. Just a lying dog. But MAGA's still going to defend him because they're all idiots. Okay, specifically black MAGA like Nick Cannon, Cherokee Minaj, okay, and Scamber Rose. These people are all idiots. But anyway, let's go to this report right here. Likes up, everyone, please. Don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance.
The Israeli war on Iran continues to drag on. The American President Donald Trump claims that strikes on Iran will intensify, and the talks will also go on at the same time. And Iran's military, on the other hand, has vowed to fight on. So let's take a look at some of the top developments that are unfolding in this war on Iran by the Americans and the Israelis. A cloud facility in Bahrain belonging to the American tech firm Amazon has been hit. According to local Iranian media, the IRGC carried out its third phase of the 90th wave of Operation True Promise 4, targeting the computer center of the tech giant in Bahrain. A top Iranian commander has claimed that the Islamic Revolution Guards Corps have struck a U.S. Army base in Saudi Arabia. And Brigadier General Syed Majid Musavi, who commands the aerospace force of Iran's elite IRGC, has claimed the destruction of a key assembly center of the U.S. Army's air squadron at the Al-Kharj base in Saudi Arabia. So as the war continues to rage on, a highway bridge linking Iran's capital Tehran to the western city of Kharj has been hit by airstrikes. And reports also point to several injured people, and that other areas of Kharj have also been struck. And strikes have targeted a centuries-old medical center in the Iranian capital of Tehran, causing extensive damage to what is effectively just a health facility. Founded back in 1921, the institute is the oldest public health and medical research.
Okay, so they destroyed a medical facility, but they're talking about Iran purposely targeting civilian buildings and infrastructure. This is all crazy, okay? Absolutely deplorable. Absolutely deplorable. Now, with that all being said, Lola says the OGTT man, not Kels. Not the OGTT man. Nick Cannon can't catch a break right now. They're going in on him. I saw Uncle Roro, aka Roland Martin, or should I call him Swollen Martin, mind you. Okay. I saw he did a story on him. I didn't watch it, but I'm sure he went in. Because he's all for the Democrats. So with that all being said, Lola, thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Hold on, because I saw another super chat. I'm trying to find it real quick. All nefarious. Teach that truth, beloved queen. Well, thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Thank you for your kind words and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, so now let's get back into it because, hold on. I don't know why it's not letting me scroll. Okay, there we go. Nice M10K said, if Obama did a fraction of what these fools did, exactly, you already know. Think about how they went in on President Obama for wearing a tan suit. Okay, President Obama had no scandals while he was in office. Nothing nefarious happened. So all they could find was to go in on him about a tan suit, make it all make sense, and then talking about Michelle Obama's arms because they were nice and firm because she works out, because they were nice and toned. Okay, so anyway, thank you, beloved, for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. And by the way, nice M10K, did you, beloved, go and see those receipts that I dug up just for you? I'm joking. Let me continue. Okay. So with that all being said, where am I going with this? Okay, yes. So I forgot to tell you all. So Keg's Breath fired a 4-star general. Okay, as if they need to be firing 4-star generals in the midst of war. But I guess they think they know what's best. So let's go to the footage. Yeah, that's what he did. He fired this man, and they claimed that he was already, thinking about firing the man in the first place. But this is all real crazy. He must have told Hegseth that this war was illegal or said something that he didn't like.
This army, can we call Army Chief of Staff? It is a shakeup. He did get fired based on what you're reporting is what's going on.
Yeah, it's absolutely a shakeup. So he is the senior most four-star general in charge of the U.S. Army, the Army Chief of Staff. He's been in the job since September of 2023. He's supposed to be there for a 4-year gig. But the reality is there have been rumors that Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth was going to fire him for some time.
Predating the war?
Precisely, predating the war. And basically this is Secretary Hegseth is going after people and has been since he was nominated or since he was confirmed into this job and sworn in. He goes after people who have any kind of ties to DEI, have any ties to the retired General Mark Milley and the previous administration, and that's where Randy George fell in here, the Army general. He worked directly as the senior military aide for the former Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. So the reality is he has been in the crosshairs with Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth for some time. But I cannot stress to you enough the idea that the Secretary of Defense just fired the head of the Army, the 4-star general in charge of the United States Army while the U.S. is at war, is for nothing to do with the war, by the way, is so beyond unorthodox.
So we are just getting in a statement from the Pentagon. I'm going to show you off of my computer too, because it's literally just coming in as you're speaking here. But the general confirming that he will be, they say retiring from his position here, effective immediately. We've got the statement up on screen saying that the Department of War, that's what they call it, is grateful for General George's decades of service to our nation. We wish him well in his retirement. To your point, Courtney, they're framing it as a retirement. It's in the middle of this war against Iran. Does this operationally, do we know even what this operationally means for the actual strikes, attacks, targets that they're trying to hit?
Probably nothing. I mean, I don't think this will have a direct impact on what we're seeing the U.S. do in Iran right now, or even the strategy going forward or anything like that. But the reason that something like this normally would not happen is because it just conveys to an enemy like Iran a sense of chaos, a sense of uncertainty, or potentially even weakness. It is just simply not done. And again, if in fact something like this does happen when you're in the middle of a conflict, it would generally be because there is some specific tie to the conflict. The individual was seen as having done something wrong or immoral or whatever it is. In this case, the officials who we're speaking to said it is because of his ties to the former Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin.
And the officials you're speaking with also say it's not a retirement, right?
Well, he has to retire because he's a 4-star general. So if he doesn't have another job to go to, which he doesn't, he's forced to retire.
Got it. Okay. Courtney Kuby, great reporting from you.
So this is all just on some hater type BS. All on some hater type BS because he was friends with a former Secretary of Defense. Like, what is wrong with these people in Trump's administration? Okay, they are very, very insecure. Okay, Booker's DC says these natural idiots. Okay, exactly. That's exactly what they are, beloved. Thank you for dragging them and also for your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, let's go to this next clip because Iran has sent another threat. Okay, they're going to retaliate about that bridge and that medical facility. I'm sure of it. They say not a. Woo, I just read the threat. I literally just read the threat. Iran warns Trump, not a single soldier will leave ground invasion alive. Do y'all hear this? Ooh, honey, I'm telling you, if I was one of those soldiers, I would quit right now. I would just throw down my weapons and leave. Okay? Because I'm telling you right now, see, this is what Trump doesn't seem to understand. This is what Satan Yahoo doesn't seem to understand. Iran is not playing with them. Okay? They are willing to die. They are willing to fight till the end, till the last one is left. These people are upset as they should be. You demonize them. You've lied on them. You've tried to paint them as something that they're not, but that's what Satan Yahoo is. Everything Satan Yahoo has said about Iran, that's exactly what he and the IDF are. That's what they are. They're the terrorists. They're the ones who purposely target civilian areas. They're the war criminals. And that's why Satan Yahoo is already under a warrant for war crimes and crimes against humanity, as he should be. Okay? And I can't wait for him to get his day in court. Okay? Unless he's killed on the battlefield or, not on the battlefield, because he wouldn't dare do that. He's a coward. He wouldn't be on the battlefield. But unless he is possibly, his residence, wherever he's hiding out in that bunker, unless something happens to him down there. Okay? Yeah. If only the Most High would grant me that wish. But nonetheless, I want you all to pay attention. Also, let's not forget all of those children that they have killed, all the lies they've told, talking about they murdered 45,000 of their own people, and we know this all just lies and BS. Okay, but so let's get into it, because they told them the other day, welcome to hell. I just would not want to be on this mission if I were in the military, period.
Iran has issued a chilling warning to America. If the U.S. dares to attempt a ground invasion, Tehran warns not a single enemy soldier will leave alive. And the warning from Iran's army chief coming as the war continues to rapidly escalate. With the battlefield situation expanding by the hour, the situation in West Asia has reached a critical peak. Forces are fully mobilized.
میلیون ها انسان که امروز در خیابان ها میبینیم پرچم به دوش گرفتن، میرسیدم و میشد دست تک تکش مردم ما و کشور ما در امنیت. میلیون ها انسان.
All of this, even as U.S. President Donald Trump, in that address earlier today, claimed that Iran's military strength has been severely degraded and the war is nearing its end. Tehran, in fact, is sending out a very different message through its firepower. Iran released fresh footage just a short while back, showing drones launched by its army, claiming to target advanced U.S. fighter jets at the airbase in Jordan.
Now, I want you to pay attention to how Trump is so ignorant and his MAGA base is so stupid as well, because they're clearly obtuse. Because Trump keeps saying that Iran is not able to do anything from the air, their Navy's going and all of that. And every time he says that, what do? They start striking, okay? And then they release the videos. So Trump, we all know that you're lying. And if he was winning so much so, why would he be trying to get other people to help? Like I told you all, talking about NATO needs to join them, and now he's mad because they didn't. No, you don't need any help, sir. You said you're obliterating them. That's what you said. Okay, so keep up the bad work.
Allah!
Okay, so this is definitely not going to end well for the U.S. Definitely not. Now, here's the thing. Nice M10K said, how can Iran guarantee that? What do they have in mind? Well, here's the thing. Everything else that they've said, they've done it. So that means they're confident. Okay, they're confident. And basically, like I told you all, I already told you it's going to be a massacre. I said they're walking into a death trap, basically, because Iran is like 4 times the size of Iraq. It's like traveling from Atlanta to New York, like I told you all, okay? It's very mountainous terrain. I told you all this from day one, when they first even mentioned a ground invasion weeks ago. They're not going to come out of there alive. It doesn't take rocket science. In Iran, do you know how many people they said they were going to put in? They said just days ago, if you remember, they're getting 1 million more, not the soldiers they already had, but 1 million more soldiers for this ground invasion. So I'm sorry. If Trump thinks that sending 10,000 soldiers in there against Iran, with that mountainous terrain and as vast as the land is, it's not going to work. It is a death trap, and Trump's a whole idiot, and so is Keg's breath. I told you all, in order for them to even have a remote chance of surviving what's going to come for them, they would need at least 100,000 soldiers. And that's not what they have. They're sending 10,000 people in there, and that is a recipe for disaster. And we're all going to see. Also, keep in mind that Trump is still trying to get us to believe, his entire administration still wants us to believe that only about 13 U.S. soldiers have died. Now, we know that's a lie. If Iran has destroyed all of the military bases, didn't they destroy like 13 military bases? Hold on. And you think nobody was in there? Hold on, let me just double check. Because I know darn well there was people in those bases. Okay, otherwise, why would they be there? Okay, so listen to this. They want us to think that 13 people are dead, but based on reports following the March 2026 conflict escalation, Iran has damaged at least 17 U.S. sites. Okay, and that would be 13 key U.S. military bases in the Middle East. They were rendered uninhabitable or severely damaged. The strikes caused roughly $800 million to $1.5 billion in damage. Okay, hitting facilities in Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. There's a whole lot more people dead than 13. Let me see how many they're reporting right now if it's changed. How many U.S. casualties? In the war with Iran. Yeah, 13 to 15. So we're a month in, and they've bombed 17, destroyed, not just struck them, but destroyed 13 military bases. And there's only 13 to 15 U.S. soldiers dead. I know y'all don't believe that. Okay, because here's the thing. This is why you can't listen to the lamestream lying arse media, okay, when you're trying to get to the truth. If you listen to the international media, that's why I show you all international news sources more so, because that's where you can get more of the truth. Because the U.S. is all propaganda. Okay, they're all propaganda at the end of the day. And so they reported that on the first week, there was hundreds of our soldiers dead. And let's not forget that allegedly, it was reported, and this is alleged because I can't confirm it, but remember, it was reported that Trump allegedly classified the deaths. Why would he do that? Who has ever done that in the history of a war in the U.S.? Why would you classify the deaths? You don't want us to know how many soldiers are dying. That's what you don't want us to know. And you darn sure don't want their families to know right about now. Okay? Trump's just a liar who lies. Face it, we're losing pathetically, and Iran is keeping those promises that they've been making. Every threat they have said, they've carried it out. Okay? And they will continue to do so as far as I'm concerned, and rightfully so. Like I said, Trump got us into this. I just feel bad that all these soldiers are going to come back home in body bags, just like Iran promised. That's exactly what's going to happen. Now, let's go to this when it says Trump and his policies are trying to bankrupt the United States of America. Now, y'all know who's saying this? Hakeem Jeffries. Now, I'm gonna let him cook, but Hakeem Jeffries, please sit down somewhere, sir. Okay, we are not here for you after we found out that you have sold us out as well, okay, for AIPAC money. And you know, they should make that illegal. These people in Congress and in the Senate, they should not be able to take money, okay, from organizations like that. AIPAC funding them, to me, that's a conflict of interest, okay, because then you have things happening like what's going on right now. Nobody's checking Trump. Nobody's stopping him. He's allowed to commit numerous war crimes. He's allowed to go and have a president of another country kidnapped. He's allowed to blow up boats of fishermen trying to earn a living and lie and say that they were rug smugglers. This is what happens when you allow them to take money. I'm sorry, this should absolutely not be a thing.
Politico. A common theme throughout the president's second term has been seemingly arbitrary, 2-week deadlines. The president sets them for things like negotiations on Ukraine, tariffs, and now an end to the war in Iran. I wonder if you could comment on that. Let's go to Leader Jeffries first.
Well, Donald Trump and Republicans have plunged America into a reckless war of choice where they are spending billions of dollars in taxpayer money to drop bombs in the Middle East with no plan, no objective, and no exit strategy. Trump's war of choice in the Middle East has increased costs on everyday Americans, particularly as it relates to gas prices, in ways that are putting additional pressure on the financial well-being of the American people. His presidency has been a failure. That is the overarching theme. Life has not gotten better for everyday Americans, for small business owners like Doug, and for farmers across the country. Life has gotten harder, and it's a direct result of Republican policies. Donald Trump is not a skilled negotiator. He's a failed negotiator. And we know this going all the way back to his time right here in New York as a failed businessman who somehow managed to bankrupt several companies, including casinos, accomplishing a feat that perhaps has never before occurred in the history of America.
I'm sorry, where did you all hear that first? I'll wait. Where did you all hear that first? Didn't I tell you all that weeks ago that Donald Trump has bankrupted America, or that he's going to, and that this is the same man who bankrupted a casino? How do you even do that? How does it even make sense? The house always wins, right? Not the case of Trump. But he said that President Obama was a bad negotiator. Remember that?
And now, unfortunately, Donald Trump and his policies are trying to bankrupt the United States of America.
And Lindsey, I'm sorry, go ahead, Senator Kim.
I was just going to add, I hope people see that when Donald Trump, kicks the can down the road week or 2 or 3 weeks down, that's a sign of weakness, not a sign of strength. He's doing that because he doesn't know what he's actually trying to accomplish. When you have no objectives, no clear objectives, no clear strategy, you just think about this in terms of, well, let's see where things go from here. And that's where, especially when it comes to war, I worked in Afghanistan and Iraq. I've seen what damages can happen when we have poor leadership at the commander-in-chief. And we certainly see it right now, putting our service members in harm's way, tanking our economy. And while Trump can kick the can down the road a couple of weeks, I'm thinking about, American families who are now having to pay well over $4 for a gallon of gas. People struggling to be able to commute to work, to be able to handle their jobs, to be able to handle childcare. So yeah, sure. For Trump, maybe he can just continue to kick the can down the road, but that's just further delays the help that the American people need. But that's what happens when we have someone who is clearly abdicating leadership in this country and is leading down this great nation, down a path of just, murky morass of the challenges that we're seeing with the war, with the tariffs and everything else, which is why we need to make sure that we're standing up against him and we're doing what I tried to do in 2018. I was proud to be a part of, which is, flip the House, flip Congress, and be able to have the checks and balances restored and to have a voice that's willing to stand up for the American people.
I can't wait till midterms. Maybe we can get rid of some of the rigmarole, okay? I'm laughing because Babe Racks, it says, I need some oxtail and pancakes for all of this. Oxtails and pancakes. I am so done. Songwriter Sunny says, Hakeem and Corey can't be the best we got. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay, please make it all make sense. Starseed Oracle said weak as F. Diane says the United States of America has already been bankrupt. They print money, remember? Okay, it's even worse now, and we're all gonna pay, though. Sadly. Mally C says you can't trust Hakeem. His ears make him look like he can be related to BB. Not related to BB, beloved. BB does have big ears. Okay, thank you for that laugh, honey. And thank you for your contribution to the channel, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, now let's go to this TMZ report of Lindsey Graham. Because remember the other day I told you how Lindsey Graham was at Disney? Now, here's the thing. Y'all didn't find that suspicious? Y'all didn't find that suspicious? Y'all didn't find that suspicious? Lindsey Graham at Disney World? Does he have children? Does he have grandchildren? Who was he there with? Because when I saw him, he was by himself, and it looked like he was holding a wand. Now, the reason I made this observation is because of the Epstein files. Okay, and we know, you all remember that I did a very intriguing expose on Disney in 2020. Okay, with the PDF files that come there and that are known PDF files who work there. So I have several questions about Mr. Lindsey Graham being at Disney World. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. I'm going to use an overlay because she's using, the lady who's doing this video, used TMZ's footage.
So this is how it started.
If anybody goes to Disney World with their family for spring break, or goes to a beach somewhere or anywhere on vacation, and you see one of the 535 members of Congress, take a picture and send it to us at TMZ. We will post that picture on our website, on our social media, and we will put it on our television shows.
And this is how it's going.
So like the commercial goes, what do when you don't solve the government shutdown? You go to Disney World. And that is exactly what Lindsey Graham did after fleeing Washington.
Of all the people, of all the fucking people.
Without any kind of a compromise, as federal workers, thousands of them, are worried about what they do tomorrow when rent is due, car payments are due, other bills are due.
Right. Lindsey Graham, by the way, we've got, just so everyone knows up front, this is both sides of the aisle.
Absolutely.
We're going to run through this. But Lindsey Graham is the interesting one, because when we first mentioned this and said to our viewers, we want to see any photos you can get of them over vacation, we certainly thought Disneyland, Disney World, someone's going to be there.
Right.
And lo and behold,
it took a day.
It took a day.
As a matter of fact, the same day. So that's him.
Friday.
That's him at brunch
So that was
on Sunday. This is Lindsey sitting there eating.
Let me remove the overlay so you all can see him. I don't know if you can see him, but that's him sitting there having brunch. And the other picture before that, that looked like Mickey or Minnie Mouse was there. Okay, what's really going on here?
You know, at Mickey's Chef, or Chef Mickey's.
Chef Mickey's.
Yes, Chef Mickey's.
And he was having brunch. They actually responded to us. Lindsey himself responded to us and said, look, I was in South Florida at a meeting with Steve Witkoff and some other government officials.
Talking about the Middle East.
Yeah. And then he got on a plane and he went to Orlando and he went
He might have driven from South Florida.
That's fair.
But anyway, yes, he said he stopped in at Disney World because there were some friends who were there, and he went to go see those friends.
So we assumed it was just I'm stopping there. And well, it turns out he was there Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday.
And I know y'all know how expensive as hell Disney World is. And if
Hold on. I just thought about something, beloveds. You all do remember when I also did a story about the room 33 at Disney. Do you all remember that? I may have to pull that back up. And the hidden rooms and supposed tunnels and all that stuff.
don't know, it's expensive as hell.
Friday night.
There's the senator on Friday night in the Fantasyland area of Disney World.
Otherwise called Congress.
From one Fantasyland to the other. But yes, he was there with a bubble wand in his hand.
So there was some kid that he was with, and the kid went to the bathroom and he held the kid's bubble wand. Go figure.
3 days later.
So Lindsey Graham proved to the world that he is a manly man. He posted a picture of himself holding a shotgun with the caption,
"Spent some time breaking clays in Edgefield County today. Doesn't get much better than that." Of course, ending the shutdown would be better than that.
Yep.
Putting aside the fact he should have been at his job and not Disney World, he was there with family friends with a little girl. It's fine to hold. I've held the bubble wand walking through Disneyland too.
Still, the senator was quick to post this photo in what must be a remarkable coincidence.
He is an avid hunter. However, I did a little research, and this is the first photo of him holding a gun that he has posted in at least 5 years.
I love it.
Obviously, in direct response to our posting of the bubble wand photo.
Next, he's eating a raw steak and drinking a beer.
Oh my God. So that was Friday night. Then there was Saturday
So
night.
we just got this, as we're talking to you, we just got this. He is at Space Mountain in line. And that line, by the way, much shorter than the TSA lines at the airport.
Must be nice.
Glad to see he did not have a fast pass.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You should be waiting in line.
Okay, I find that extremely disturbing. I really, really do. And I'm not just saying that because, like I said, you all remember when I did that story about Club 33, not Room 33, Club 33 at Disney. Remember the exclusive private dining club located at 33 Royal Street in New Orleans Square at Disney? Oh, it's in New Orleans, not where he was. Well, nevertheless, they still supposedly have those tunnels there, okay? And we know what we've heard about Disney. So I'm just wondering why he was really there. Okay. Now, with that all being said, let's go to this next clip with Lindsey just talking trash. Clearly pressed. And here's the thing. This administration, the problem with them and the problem with the GOP is that they don't seem to understand the optics of things. Because let's just say if he was just going there for a friendly brunch or to meet friends or whatever, how does he think that people are looking at him when there's a whole government shutdown and TSA agents are not even being paid? People are struggling, gas is sky high, and groceries are too. How does he think that makes it look? Okay, that you're out here enjoying life and living life like it's golden while the rest of us struggle. You know what it reminds me of? Remember that documentary about our shadow government that I told you to watch on Tubi? It was titled "While the Rest of Us Die." Okay, that's what it reminded me of. Because these government officials, they do not care about us at all. They don't care about the people. Most of them don't. And that's just the sad facts of it all.
And here's what I learned. Iran makes a deal to make sure they never do this again, or we will destroy their infrastructure to survive as a nation. That's their choice. And that's the big takeaway tonight for me. Now, what?
Hey, this is my message to Iran's president. Listen.
Hold on. You know what I'm thinking? Hold on. No, I made a big mistake. That is not in New Orleans. That's the address. Okay. When I said, because I'm like, wait a minute, I thought that was at Disney. No, it is at Disney, but the dining club, Club 33, is at 33 Royal Street in New Orleans Square at Disneyland. Okay, that's the name of the street that it's on. Founded by Walt Disney. It's for extreme privacy and high-end dining and long waiting lists for memberships. And remember, those memberships are I believe, so many thousands of dollars. Hold on. Yeah, okay, so the fees are for the membership range from $25,000 to $100,000. Okay, plus yearly dues in the thousands as well. So with that all being said, listen, you have to ask yourselves, beloveds, why would wealthy people like Lindsey, okay, because we already know that these people make a lot of money, and a lot of them do insider trading, okay? Not just Keg's breath. We know that some of these people in Congress have absolutely been doing insider trading. All right, please pay attention. And now with that all being said, those memberships for that club being so costly, what do you think they're doing at those clubs? I don't think they're just there for a stay, not to be just for a normal stay. Not if you're paying $100,000 for a membership. It sounds very Epstein Islandish. Okay. And like I said, with that expose I did on them with all the PDF stuff that was going on at Disney and how Disney didn't even want to cooperate with the police when they were doing stings to catch PDF files, they did not want to cooperate. And I thought that was very interesting as well. Okay, and also, let's not forget that Disney was sending children to Epstein Island allegedly for snorkeling events. Y'all remember that? Okay, so I just find it all interesting. I definitely think Lindsey was there for nefarious reasons. That's my opinion.
Listen, you could catch Lindsey Graham sometimes in Disney World, sometimes in the forest, pretending to shoot a GUN. We don't support him. I think majority of us are okay if you just take him with you, right? Just, invite him to your country. We don't support what he's doing, what he's saying. We don't support what the orange turd is saying. So if you could help us out, just come and invite those two people. And even if you can, if possible, invite the entire administration with you so that, or the whole entire Republican Party, so that we could actually have a functional country again. So, again, we don't support Lindsey Baby Hands Graham. You might even be able to find him on Grindr. I'm like 99% sure, because for some reason, wherever he goes, Grindr end up crashing. I'm just saying, I appreciate your help.
He called him Lindsey Baby Hands Graham. Okay, please pay attention. Now let's go to this, because MS Now released a report 4 hours ago about Epstein's ex-girlfriend. Okay, and she said it's terrifying that Trump's fixer, Todd Blanche, will now be the AG. Let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please. Don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance, beloveds.
Epstein for several months. Stacey, thank you so much for joining this afternoon. It's good to see you again. I know you've been working closely with many of Epstein's survivors. What does the firing of Pam Bondi mean to you and to the rest of the survivor community that has been calling for accountability?
Well, I mean, it's good news to see someone who is absolutely terrible at their job go. But, you know, I'm reading that, you know, Donald Trump's personal fixer, who literally flew to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell and move her into Camp Cupcake, is going to be her interim replacement. And that's terrifying. You know, I don't have any faith that he cares about transparency. What I'm seeing all over again, and I've been hammering this since I came forward in, 2024, is that the survivors do not matter in the equation. The cover-up is what matters most. And I have no faith that the cover-up won't continue.
That personal fixer who you're referencing is Todd Blanche, of course, who's now acting attorney general. And he flew, met with Ghislaine, and then she suddenly got the opportunity to go to a much lower security prison camp. To you, what has, not just that moment, but the entire process that's unfolded over the course of the last year, what has it told you about this government, this administration's relationship to the survivors, who, you know, the public had been told for so long, any minute now, revelations were coming, names were going to be revealed, potential new investigations would come. At the beginning of all of this, we were led to believe that these were people who were going to lead the way on this battle and turn the page on this. And now we are here, where it's Todd Blanche who's going to be in this position. What does that symbolize to you about what's happened over the course of the last year?
It symbolizes no concern for sex abuse survivors. It symbolizes protecting pedophile networks. It certainly doesn't symbolize truth, justice, or transparency. And think about how ironic that is. We're talking about the Department of Justice. I mean, Pam Bondi said she wouldn't respond to subpoenas. Like, you know, so the rest of us have to respond to subpoenas, or we can be arrested, but Pam Bondi can keep cleaning up the messes of these men who are hiding out and enjoying the fact that their names are blacked out on all of these emails, while survivors have had their home addresses, their driver licenses exposed. They don't take any of us seriously. And, you know, to your point, Donald Trump ran. His base cared very much about this, you know, exposing the Jeffrey Epstein network and the files. He ran on this, and they did nothing but cover it up and screw it up. And Pam Bondi failed miserably. And now the guy who's going to step in as her interim replacement is the guy who moved Ghislaine into more comfortable quarters.
here's the thing. Trump's base was concerned about it until they found out that Trump was all up and through the files himself, until they found out that he was accused of nefarious things, until they found out that his name was mentioned in the files more times than Harry Potter's name is mentioned in the Harry Potter series. His name's in there over 1 million times, supposedly. So with that all being said, yeah, they cared about it until then. The only reason his base really cared about it, in my opinion, is because they thought it was the Democrats. They thought it was the Democrats because we already know about Hillary, okay, and what was in her nefarious emails that I read to you in 2020. So they thought it was the Democrats alone. Had they known it was Trump, they would have never even vaguely or remotely pretended to be concerned. Because now they have T-shirts, some of them, that say, I don't care if Trump is a PDF file. So did they really care? No, they didn't. They only wanted the Democrats to go down. That's all those people cared about. Okay, now I'm going to move on. I'm not going to play her whole entire interview because we have some other things to get to, and I don't want to be on her all night. But here's the thing. Remember how Trump was telling us that he was making all these negotiations with Iran and this and that, and he's going to try to, be out of there in 3 to 4 weeks or whatever. And he said, oh, we're having good negotiations. Here's the thing. That's a lie. As I have told you all, it's a lie. And, he did have Pakistan trying to do some mediation. But whenever, here's the difference, okay? He did have Pakistan trying to speak to Iran on his behalf or asking if they wanted to have negotiations. And Iran said no, they turned it down. Now, what they were doing, according to, I want to say Abbas Arakchi, maybe it was the foreign minister Abbas Arakchi or some other Iranian official, but what they said was basically there were messages being passed back and forth. Okay, like when they were going to strike somewhere and civilians were in the area or just different things like that. But them having messages passed back and forth does not equate to negotiations. Okay, that's not what that is. That doesn't equate to negotiations. Negotiations would entail them having a sit down and discussing how they're going to come to a conclusion to end this war, how they're going to give each other something viable that would, entice them to bring it all to a close. Okay. That has not happened. That has not even been in the talks. And Iran has said that they don't want to talk about that because at the end of the day, they gave Trump the ceasefire, him and Bibi, they gave them the ceasefire that they asked for last June, only for them to turn around and regroup and then sit down and pretend to be having negotiations, stab them in the back, and come back and strike them. February the 28th, killing 180 people, 165 of them children. Many of those children belong to the Iranian soldiers who are fighting in this war. So why would they want to negotiate with them? I wouldn't negotiate with them. Okay, I would not. Do you know how angry they have to be? You murder these men's children. Okay, they're not talking to you about a ceasefire. They're not talking to you about giving up the Strait of Hormuz, giving you any type of conditions that you want. They're not doing it. And I don't blame them because I wouldn't do it either. I would be out for blood. Okay, and I wouldn't stop until my thirst was quenched. Please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, and how Trump is just a liar who lies is another reason. It's because when he was giving his speech last night, and he was talking about the negotiations or whatever. Remember when Trump said, what did he say? He said, I'm about to play a clip with Colonel McGregor talking about this. But remember when Trump said that they should be blown into the Stone Ages? Okay, so when you're saying stuff like that, when you're saying that we need to blow them into the Stone Ages where they need to be or where they belong, who's going to negotiate with you after you said that? Who's going to sit down and talk to you about a ceasefire after you said that? That's going to make them more angry. That's what I would be. I would be more angry. Now I really want to take them up out of here. So at the end of the day, there's no negotiations. When you're having negotiations, you don't talk all that talk. You don't make those type of threats. That's what you don't do. But that's all Trump's been doing. So even if you just look at it with common sense, it doesn't make sense at all. But we know that his MAGA minions, the cult members, we know that they don't have a bit of common sense. Okay, they're insidiously obtuse. Please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, let's go to this clip, and then we're going to move on from the war talk because I want to show you all the video of Tiger Woods okay, when he got arrested for his DUI. And also, I want to talk about T.S. Madison, okay, and threats that she made while she had the DL Whisperer locked up. Okay, I find it all interesting.
Is that they're on track to finish their objectives, which he listed out. Said in the middle of this there will be discussions, but they'll be still hit in the next 2 or 3 weeks. The exact quote was they're going to be hit them extremely hard in 2-3 weeks. So if that happens, prices continue to spiral. There is no ceasefire that was hopefully expected in this speech.
Well, the thing that was striking to me is that he says we are going to bomb them back into the Stone Age where they belong. But he says we're still negotiating.
Right.
Sure, of course. And I'm sure everyone will rush to negotiate with you. You know, I listen to these things, and you have to assume that everybody else in the world has a brain, and everybody else around the world is listening to this, says this man is unhinged. What possible interest do we have in bombing the Iranian people back into the Stone Age? It's outrageous. Doesn't make any sense at all. But it's all this hate-filled rhetoric that comes straight out of the mouth of Netanyahu. And now it's poisoning the global economy, and it's destroying us. You know, government can print money, but they cannot print food, fuel, feedstock, and fertilizers.
He's also threatened them that the next wave of attacks could include hitting Iran's electric generation plants and also their oil assets in the region.
Yeah.
How do you see that?
Well, what will happen is that the Iranians will reciprocate. And the Iranians don't have much incentive to exercise restraint when it comes to the Persian Gulf Emirates. You know, I don't like to say this, but in much of the Muslim world in Arabia, certainly in the Arabian Peninsula and across much of it, people do not have a high opinion of the elites that rule the Emirates. They see them as kind of an Arab equivalent of the Epstein class that we're dealing with in the West.
That's exactly what they are, because remember, some of them were in the Epstein files. I showed you the receipts, okay? So people don't have a high, expectation of them, okay? I don't think they have any moral fortitude myself.
Right.
So he doesn't know that. He doesn't understand any of that. I think the Gulf states that we know today, and of course, they're very important to you. India does about $180 billion in trade with the Gulf states every year. I think you're going to have to come to the unfortunate conclusion that the infrastructure is going to be destroyed, and these Gulf states may no longer exist. It's a real possibility.
Wow. And do you not think that
we're not going to go back in there and rebuild those bases? I don't see any evidence for that.
Exactly. And it's already cost or an estimated cost of $800 million to $1 billion. Okay, so that's not what they're going to do. Now, with that all being said, listen, we're about to move on, but I do want to address in the chat, someone said that they're talking about arresting Obama. And so I looked it up, and it says this: as of April 2026, there are intense political claims and media speculation suggesting that former President Barack Obama could be arrested. Say what? Largely driven by supporters of President Donald Trump and members of his administration. However, there's no evidence, okay, that an arrest is imminent and no charges have been filed against him. But mind you, they want to arrest President Obama for allegations of treason. Trump, are you serious? Trump has already committed treason. Okay, Trump has already committed treason. Think about how he's in this war. He has United States soldiers in this war at the behest of Satan Yahoo. Okay, not only that, all the other stuff that he has done, such as having the Russian Duma members come to the White House just days ago after Russia admitted that they have been giving weapons to Iran. Then him lifting the sanctions on Russia for Putin. With that all being said, I'm sorry, whose treason is here? Yeah, that would be Trump. Trump, in my opinion, has already committed acts of treason. So he's clearly projecting. But it says allegations of treason. Individuals, including Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, have accused the Obama administration of fabricating intelligence to influence the 2016 election, labeling it a prolonged coup. Now, President Trump has amplified these claims, including reposting a fake AI-generated video showing an arrest, and has publicly demanded accountability for what he terms treason. Let me tell y'all something. Trump wants former President Barack Obama arrested because he knows that he needs to be arrested. Okay, he knows that he needs to be arrested. He knows that Steve Bannon already said publicly that if they lose the midterms, they're all going to prison, including himself. That's what he said. Okay, now here's the thing. Despite claims of irrefutable evidence, the Department of Justice has not moved to prosecute with reports indicating that the evidence provided does not meet the legal threshold for criminal charges. Now, as far as the political context is concerned, they say critics and legal experts largely view these allegations as politically motivated, unsubstantiated, and a misleading revision of history, okay? Dismissing them as part of a continued political feud rather than a legitimate investigation. So basically, to sum it all up, while there is a significant ongoing political campaign calling for the arrest of Barack Obama, there are no verified reports of or official legal action suggesting that his arrest is going to take place or has been planned. This is all wishful thinking. Trump, please sit down somewhere. You have to be a whole damn fool if you think that you can get President Obama locked up, but you're not going to be. Okay? Is he serious right about now? Mally C says, during the Vietnam War, General Curtis LeMay said he'll bomb Vietnam into the Stone Age. They also did the moon landing during the war. It seems like they are kind of mirroring the same thing. Interesting. I didn't know that. So he said he would bomb them into the Stone Age. Okay. Well, thing is, America lost the Vietnam War, did they not? After fighting for 18 or 19 long, tedious years, they lost. We had about 50,000 soldiers die. Okay? America is just, when it comes to war and things, America always has the wrong reasoning behind it, because it's always about greed and money, okay, and resources. It's never about them really trying to help other people in a foreign land whom they feel are oppressed, because if they were so concerned about people being oppressed, would they be concerned about the people that are oppressed and their own homeland, which is us, people who look like me? Okay, so thank you, beloved, for that information. I did not know that. And also thank you for your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Now let's talk about Tiger Woods. I really didn't care to report on him getting arrested the other day because I don't like Tiger Woods. I think he's a whole raccoon. And I further think he's a raccoon because when he got arrested, they report that he called Trump immediately. And I told you all days ago that Trump said, oh, he's a good person. He's had some troubles and all of this. So yeah, they're clearly friends. And anyone who's a friend with Trump that looks like me, you have to be a whole raccoon. Please pay attention. But now that the footage has been released, I definitely want to see that. Okay, I definitely want to see that. And so let's get into it.
Body camera video shows the moments Tiger Woods was arrested. Deputies say the golfer showed signs of impairment after he clipped a truck while speeding and rolled his car over last week. Those are the allegations. And now we're seeing the moments police transported Woods in the back of a patrol car. ABC's Perry Russum is here with more. So, Perry, take us through this video and what it's showing.
Yeah, so we are seeing this video for the first time. It was released by the Martin County Sheriff's Office. It shows the moments after the crash involving Tiger Woods. So take a look at your screen here. We see Tiger Woods in the back of a patrol car. His hands are cuffed behind him. It appears he is sweating profusely. That is from outside of the patrol car. So he is interacting with a sheriff's deputy there, appearing to do an impairment test of some kind, following that sheriff's deputy's finger there going back and forth. While he was in the patrol car, he was sweating profusely, it appears. An officer asked Woods if he was cool in the back of the car. He responded, nope. It then appears air conditioning was adjusted to cool him down. This was all part of a larger records release. We are getting hours worth of video from the moments after the crash. During that ride, Woods had some questions for the officer, including how long the detainment process would be. There you see him in the back of the patrol car. The sheriff's office says on Friday, Woods was driving his Land Rover at a high rate of speed. He tried to pass a truck, but clipped a trailer the truck was pulling and flipped over. According to the probable cause affidavit, Woods says he was looking down at his phone, changing the radio station, and did not see the truck in front of him. According to that affidavit as well, 2 hydrocodone pills were found in Woods' pants pocket. That drug is used to treat severe chronic pain, and the side effects include dizziness and drowsiness. So let's take a listen to that video released by the sheriff's office.
So at this time, I do believe your normal faculties are impaired, okay, and you're under the unknown substance, okay? So at this time, you're under arrest for DUI, yes, sir.
So nobody was injured in this crash. We know Woods took a breathalyzer test, which he passed. He refused to take a urine test. That is typically used to detect drugs and medication. His charges include driving under the influence. He has pleaded not guilty, Diane.
Well, Eldridge, looks like you're going down. Okay, Eldridge, that's his real name, but hold on. Let's go to this other clip. Because they said footage is coming out by the hour. I find it all nefarious. End of the day. Ah!
Here with us, please. Yeah, I was just talking to the president. I'm trying to get away from those. Mr. Woods, get you to hang out down here with us, please.
Thank you so much. All right, you got it. All right, thank you. Bye. Say again?
And just keep you down here with us, please.
Yeah, I was just talking to the president. I'm trying to get away from those.
And just keep you down here with us, please.
Yeah, I was just talking to the president. So, and, okay, if I were the officers, he would definitely have been arrested at that point. Sit down somewhere, okay? Trying to drop Trump's name just to let them know that you're friends with the president. Sit down, sir. Here's another clip. Find it all so nefarious.
Up down my phone, and all of a sudden, boom. I'm gonna just take a look. I'm going to just like take. Is this comfortable for you? Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Why don't you have the phone? We're still gonna have our medic come and check you out. All right. Yeah. All right. Disregard that. So they can secure this. All right. Good then? No, I'm set. Yeah. He's okay. I just checked for anything on his back. I didn't see anything. No, that's him. I'm right here. You're right here. I held. Who hit him? He hit the tree. I don't know. So he kept coming. Okay. And I tried to. Okay. And you're in this vehicle? So you were stopped. I was getting ready to turn in. I don't think he was looking. That's the thing. Yeah. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. It hit the trailer. You know. I don't know if I'm gonna. I gotta take this tire. I don't even know if I can drive it out of here.
So he's sitting there talking about he's fine after he just got hit by Tiger Woods. I wouldn't be fine. Okay, everything will be hurting. My back, my neck, you name it. Everything. I would be in so much pain. Okay, please pay attention. I'm absolutely not all right. Can you please call an ambulance? Okay. Now, with that all been said, hold on. This is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about T.S. Madison and the threats that she made to women. I do not like T.S. Madison, by the way. I do not like T.S. Madison. Okay, now, so T.S. Madison, as I told you all, she had the D.O. Whisperer arrested because he supposedly rode past her house, yelling for her to come out, saying he was going to whoop her arse, okay, or something of the sort. But then she was talking about she feared for her life and all of this. Well, here she is threatening women. Okay, she's a whole man. Okay? No matter what you call yourself, you're biologically born a man. You should not ever be threatening to put your hands on a biological woman. I'm not fighting a man, ever. And I don't care if they're wearing a wig or not. So let's get into it.
Wait, girl, I had to use the bathroom when I came in the store or whatever. So I bust off in the bathroom. It was like 4 fish in the bathroom. Now, I don't know the laws down here in Fredericksburg, Virginia, but I'm going to tell you something. I don't give a fuck what you hoes know or what you hoes think you know. Like, some of y'all hoes think that y'all know everybody's teeth or what goes in between everybody's legs. But I tell you what, I know y'all try to play that bathroom law. But if any one of you hoes knock on that stall and tell me that I got to get out there because I'm a man, I'm going to whoop y'all hoes right there in the bathroom. If you don't believe nothing I tell you, believe that. I'm going to whoop y'all hoes right there in that bathroom. There's a lot of things you ain't got to worry about. But Caitlyn Jenner says she's she transformed, honey, and she still like women. Baby, I ain't never liked women sexually. Never. I have never had a woman, never wanted to be with a woman, honey. I respect and love all women because of what they are. Bitch, I never wanted to have sex with no woman. So please believe, when I come in the bathroom with you, I gotta pee. I'm not thinking about your pussy. I'm not trying to look under the stall at your. I'm not thinking about that. That ain't crossed my mind one time. And see y'all trying to get these laws and stuff passed or whatever. This how I feel. Make a separate bathroom. If you feel some type of way, bitch, make a separate bathroom, honey, for the girls or whatever. Just put on the bathroom. Put on the bathroom all. That's just what you do. Put all on the motherfucking bathroom. Because I'm gonna tell you always run up on me and in the bathroom talking about some man. Before y'all leave up out of there, y'all gonna have a well whooped ass in the bathroom. I promise you. So anyway.
Y'all heard that? I mean, it's the nerve of it all for me. Like I said, I'm not fighting a man. Okay, period. If a man puts hands on me, they're going to meet Mr. Smith and Mr. Wesson. And that's just facts. Okay, that's what you're going to meet, Mr. Smith and Mr. Wesson. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about this Black woman who was in labor or was about to give birth. And she had to go on Zoom and speak to a judge because the doctors wanted to give her a C-section, which she didn't want. Okay, the health disparities for Black people still exist. Okay, medical genocide is absolutely a thing. Okay, because who's putting her on a Zoom call, right? In the midst of labor. Make it all make sense.
This is Michael Khalil. I'm a circuit court judge here in Jacksonville, Florida. The state of Florida has filed a petition for declaratory judgment. They're asking for an emergency C-section be granted by the court.
I have not had a chance to be able to consult with my own legal representation, and I'm trying to understand how you are taking my rights away as a patient to be able to decide my own care to give me an emergency C-section against my will.
Well, let me ask you about that. What about the risks to the child?
Anytime you go into childbirth, whether you do a vaginal or a C-section, there's inherent risk to the mother and the baby. I have other children out here in the world that need me. If I die from a C-section, nobody on this call is going to take care of my children.
Well, you have a new doctor coming on. I don't know.
Yeah, no, they don't have anybody African-American that they can give me.
Well, let me ask you. I don't know that. I don't find that race really has much to do with this, ma'am.
It does have much to do with it because historically, Black people do better when they have healthcare providers that look like them. It's nobody Black in here. I'm so tired of this. I'm over this whole situation. Like, y'all are gonna make me have level 3 tracing. How bad y'all stressing me out.
Ms. Doyle, that's what's going to be entered. I'm going to circulate this order, this proposed order, to the other attorneys. Enter this in today, not requiring anything except for an emergency basis.
Thank you so much, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
I appreciate you spending 2 hours on a Sunday going through my medical history and fighting for my vagina and my baby.
She had 3 prior C-sections, including one that resulted in a hemorrhage. Okay, after 3 hours of testimony, all while Dolly Dolly lay in her hospital bed. The judges ruled that she could keep trying for a vaginal birth unless there was an emergency. Now it says overnight, the baby's heart rate dropped for 7 minutes and Dolly woke to her hospital bed being wheeled into surgery. The baby was delivered by C-section.
This is re-traumatizing. Tell them I don't want to be on.
Okay.
Y'all can have your own meeting. I want to see my child.
Okay, so there's that. Now, and here's the thing. Hold on. Here's the thing. There absolutely is a lot of medical disparity that goes on, in my opinion, but this case right here absolutely proves it. Okay, I want you all to pay attention because this woman shares footage of the moment former OBGYN Javad Parwayatz, who was sentenced to 59 years in prison, promised to help her get pregnant, but instead he proceeded to remove her uterus without her knowledge. Racism. Okay, I always try to find doctors who look like me. And also, let me just say that I recently got rid of a doctor because he was a Trumper. Okay, he was a Trump supporter. And not only that, I may have overlooked his political views, but the reason I absolutely wouldn't is because I picked his brain to see where his mindset is. And I asked him, I said, what do you think about Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy being killed at the protest? He said that Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy shouldn't have been there in the first place. He said they shouldn't have been there in the first place. I'm sorry, sir. You don't feel sorry that these people lost their lives? These were innocent people. They shot Renee Nicole Good in the face multiple times. They shot Alex Preddy 10 times as he lay on the ground, clutching his glasses in one hand and his cell phone in the other. That man was a nurse, a VA nurse, okay? At the end of the day, you think that's fine? Yeah, I'm out of here. Okay, you cannot be my doctor because if you don't have empathy and sympathy for people who look like you darn sure don't have any for people who look like me. Okay, so miss me with it. Okay, that was just all real crazy. Okay, so anywho, let's go to this video. Likes up, everyone, please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. Hold on, that's the wrong clip. Hold on. I'm going to show that one next. Okay, here we go.
Told myself when I went into the private room, I got undressed, of course, and I set a camera up. And I just wanted to make sure that I was getting the best medical advice as possible.
Come in. Good morning. Sorry you've been waiting. I apologize.
I'm April. Pleased to meet
Nice
you.
to meet you. Can I have a baby? Why?
I don't know. I've been trying for years. They got to asking me questions.
Have you ever had any surgery?
No.
Been in the hospital or anything?
No. You could tell the conversation he had, he prepped this. Sitting on the bed and they did a pap smear on me.
Sometimes you can have these little cysts on the ovary that come and go, but it makes it difficult for you to get pregnant.
And he's like, oh yeah, Miss Neville, let me just say this. You're talking about trying to have a baby and you're having issues. Basically, there's a surgery I can do to help you get pregnant.
So we're going to help you have a baby.
Thank you.
Yes, we're going to do, I'll do my part.
And I thought to myself, like, that's easy? Is that all it takes? And he was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, go ahead, go home, keep trying and, have fun and do what you do.
Now, one thing I'm just going to warn you.
He said that the medical insurance won't pay to help me get pregnant. That's kind of what he said.
We're going to write it as if you've had some problem with your periods.
He said that I can help you. I'll do a surgery on you. We'll schedule it. I'll write it down. I'll write it off as a DNC. And you'll be able to get pregnant. And I took it as, okay, well, this man knows what he's doing. So he literally set me up for an appointment to have the surgery done. I waited like I probably stayed about a few months before I'm gonna go seek a second opinion from another doctor. They claimed that I had got a partial hysterectomy. I said, does that mean I can't have kids? She said, well, would you like to hear the good news or the bad news? She said, I can already tell you there's no good news.
And let me just say this, he knew exactly what he was doing, okay? He knew exactly what he was doing because a DNC is when they remove part of your uterus. Okay, they remove tissue from inside the uterus, basically. Okay, so I find that interesting. That's why he put it that way. He was trying to cover his butt because he knew what he was really going to do all along. And he just wanted to try to cover himself by wording it that way because he knew exactly what he was going to do.
That's crazy.
So
you
sad.
Put your trust in somebody. And for them to do you like that, it was so hard. It was so hard. She asked me who was my doctor then, and I told her Dr. Perez. She was just like, I think you should go see the police.
Using women's bodies to line his own pockets, today's verdict, the justice that many of the patients were waiting for.
We as women, we can't take back what was taken from us. To know that he's not out there, operating on anyone else, that no one else will be a victim. Knowing that little bit helps me sleep at night. And I told myself when I went into the private room, I got undressed, of course. And
what I find interesting is that she had the presence of mind to set up a camera. I wonder what made her do that. Maybe she just wanted to protect herself, but thank God she did, because if she didn't have proof, the way that he put it in the medical records, the way he wrote it all up, he would have gotten away with it. And you know what? There's no telling how many times he's done this in the past. There is no telling how many times he's done this in the past. Listen, y'all need to remember that there was a period in the United States, a 30-year period, when sterilization was absolutely legal. They were sterilizing people, specifically Black people and people who they felt that had basically mental health issues. Okay, that's what they were doing. Let's not forget that Planned Parenthood was created by Margaret Sanger, who was a whole eugenicist, and she was friends with Bill Gates' father, who was the same, and Bill Gates is the same. With that all being said, it was initially called the Negro Project, and Margaret Sanger said that Black people should be exterminated like weeds. And oh, by the way, in case you missed it, she was somebody who Hillary Clinton idolized. Okay? So I find that interesting. But let's go to this next clip, because you all remember the man who threatened to shoot up a preschool and to kill Black babies? Y'all remember that? Where do you find out how much time he got? Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance, beloveds.
Carolina man who allegedly vowed to shoot up Black preschoolers has been caught by the FBI.
The suspect is 25-year-old Zachary Newell. Allegedly said he wanted to injure or kill 20 Black children, among other violent and racist threats, in a comment on YouTube. Brian Trader's been following this from the Live Center. Brian?
Yeah, I'll show you where this is all happening. It's in Carteret County, down to the coast in Newport, North Carolina. According to the FBI, 25-year-old Zachary Newell on August 26th and 27th posted racist, violent comments on YouTube, including one where he said he planned to shoot up a preschool, injuring or killing at least 20 Black children. On the 31st, Google reported that to the FBI, and then later that day, deputies in Carteret County confronted Newell, and they say at that point he admitted to making that comment. They executed a search warrant and took him into custody, charging him with a state charge of communicating threats of mass violence to an educational facility. No, he did not specify any particular preschool, and they say that he then posted bond and was released. Later that night, the FBI took Newell back into custody, and now he's facing a federal charge. If convicted, he could face up to 5 years in federal prison.
A North Carolina man who allegedly vowed to...
First of all, 5 years isn't nearly enough. Okay, 5 years isn't nearly enough. Now, with that all being said, Goodness Ray DeBow says, well, the nurse that was breaking Black babies' bones only got 3 years in jail. Absolutely. Isn't that crazy? Can you imagine if a black nurse had done such a nefarious thing? Can you imagine how much time they would have gotten? Like, make it all make sense. Okay, make it all make sense. Now, I'm about to conclude this broadcast, but I also wanted to tell you all, I wanted to ask you all, how many of you watched the trial of Afro Man? Once in the chat. How many of you watched the trial of Afro Man? Because, you know, I find it interesting that one of the jurors came forward to speak anonymously and did an interview and said how the judge was basically chastising them for ruling in Afro Man's favor. Okay, I find that all interesting. Pretty Wings saw it. Okay, Chris B. Okay, so some of you all saw it. Yeah, I find that very interesting. And also, the lawyer, Afro Man's lawyer, also did the interview with the same podcasters and basically talked about how the judge kept dismissing him, interrupting him, and all of that. So it was clearly racist. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. I want y'all to pay attention. I thought that was very, the judge was big mad. Or yeah, he was mad, of course. And this is a small town too, and you know how the politics can be in small towns, okay, and the mindsets of the people who live there and all of that. But so clearly the judge had no business trying to chastise them, okay, had no business trying to, you know, get upset because of their decision. Asking them things like, you know, did I express myself? Did I give you, you know, give you the instructions clearly and all of that? Okay, I find it all interesting. Yes, clearly racist, absolutely dangerous. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, Queen, read my other super chat. Oh, okay, beloved, hold on. So we're about to be out of here. I will see you all in the morning, bright and early, with your morning wake-up call. I can't believe it's Friday already. I can't believe it's Friday already. Y'all know what I was thinking? Remember when we did that little experiment on the channel and I told you all that I think the devils are still in time? Well, you know what? I'm going to have to take that back. I'm going to have to recant that statement because what I really think could be happening is in the Bible, it talks about how God would shorten the days. Okay, how God would shorten the days. And so with the times that we're living in, and these are definitely perilous times, okay, so maybe that's what's going on. But I do know that the days are going by a whole lot quicker. Okay, Pincy Lola, I don't see your super chat, beloved. You know how sometimes ScrewTube will have them disappear. Let me look one more time. Sorry, I missed it. You know, and so tomorrow night, I think we're going to talk about some mysterious things, maybe Area 51 or people coming up missing from these national parks. Okay. Or maybe some more information on the reptilians and all of that. It's going to be something juicy. Okay, so make sure you tune in tomorrow evening as well. Okay, there it is, Pensilola. Says, Lynn can't control his taste. You talk about Lindsey Graham. Oh, I absolutely agree, beloved. I absolutely agree. And listen, did you hear them say that he was eating a raw steak? Okay, now was it just bloody or literally raw? Because you know that some of them actually eat raw meat, okay, which is no surprise to us by now because we know about the cannibalism that we all found out about in the Epstein files, which was nothing new because I told you all about the cannibalism of it all back in 2020. Okay, so please pay attention. With that all been said, beloved, thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. So until next time, beloveds, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember to keep the Most High first in your lives. Until next time, peace.
With that gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest us right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece. This time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got